All right, and there we go. Howdy, hey, everybody. Howdy, hey. Welcome in. How's everybody doing? How is everybody? Hi, hello, everyone. Howdy, hey, guys, girls, gays, and theys. How we doing? That's totally not me blinking because I just realized that I didn't pull up TikTok chat at all in the slightest. But we're here. Hello, everyone. Oh my god, I see Starry's in chat, I see Phantom Fox is in chat, Ark is in chat, Alistair Sealy is in chat, Chias is over in YouTube land. Hello everybody. Let's go ahead and get things started. We're gonna go ahead and crack open a cold one with the boys. The boys being chat. We're just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna Eve Ramatel's Coral, by the way. I knew this. Oh my god, what the hell am I drinking? Oh, it's peach rings, that's why. Oh, I didn't expect. Okay. So for context, I was out and about the other day and I found a Sonic the Hedgehog branded G Fuel energy drink. And I needed to know, and just before I cracked it open yesterday, I was like, you know what? We're gonna save it for a stream. We're gonna do a live taste test. And I'm just not gonna know. And I didn't realize it was peach rings. It's my 7th stream streak, but there's an error. Thank you so much, Masonry Comics. I appreciate it, my dude. Anyway, let's go ahead and say, oh shit. Intangible. Thank you so much, Intangible. There we go. Thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. All right, let's go down the list. There is a hydrate from Galaxy, so cheers. Life Hacked Home XO, thank you so much for the 3 stream streak, my dude. I appreciate it. Chugging before wooing, 1000%. Lugu, thank you so much for the 15 stream streak, my dude. I appreciate it. Howdy, saw you on Insta. You cracked me up, my dude. Thank you so much for stopping by, my dude. I'm glad I made you laugh. Hi, Steve. This is my first stream. I hope it's a good one. Stick, thank you so much for dropping by, my dude. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and say thank you to Stick, I guess. Hey, check that out. You're right there. Thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Not even Kiki24, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Boba Addict, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. She's a Rebel 927, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. The Rebel, she's a saint, she's a salt of the earth, and she's dangerous. Okay, there we go. Jehi Akinori, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Math Puns, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Ponytown Boy, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Don't brother me. But Ponytown Boy, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Arsene16, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Why on Earth, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Jazz Wars 21, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Black 666 Wolf, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. It's Shams, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Legends Noob 2, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. The Metroid 7998, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. And let me scroll back up. Oh my god, Intangible, thank you so much for the sub, my dude. I appreciate it. Wambulance, thank you so much for the 15 string streak, my dude. I appreciate it. Whee! Hell yeah, brother. And then Penny the Bat Dog says hydrate, so cheers. And Masonry says, oh, Masonry, thank you so much for the I gotta get used to that. Masonry, there's your 7 stream streak. I appreciate it, homie. And Miss Paris 44, thank you so much for the 5 months at tier 1, my dude. I appreciate it. Got my desk and chair finally. Can game so much more now. Hell yeah, dude. And we got a hype train going. Let's fucking go. All right. Now let me go ahead and hop on the bed real quick. We're just gonna go ahead and just go right here. So quick little fun fact about me. So I'm in the LA area, right? Also Alana, I see you over in TikTok land. Howdy hey. And Revier, howdy hey. So I'm over in the LA area, right? Oh, that was a gnarly burp. And the Super Bowl happened, right? And who else was going to perform at the halftime show but one Bad Bunny, right? Benito himself. But during the show, for whatever reason, I still haven't seen the halftime performance. I'm saving that for a day where I just want to jam. you know. But for whatever reason, VS Tacos was brought up, and this was brought to my attention because your boy has stumbled into a VS Tacos many a time while either partaking of that dank herb or having one too many a drink. And I have destroyed many a taco there. So fucking that made my heart warm. I just wanted to mention that just because like as soon as I saw that it was mentioned, the next day I went out and got some VS tacos. So everything was beautiful. It was great. It was amazing. Also, Penny the Bad Dog, thank you so much for the gift sub, my dude. I appreciate it. If you guys got a gift sub, be sure to say thank you. My ass was crying. It was so good. Hell yeah, Starry. How does an ass crying? How does an ass cry? You want to find out? Jazz cabbage, if you will. You know, I call it that wacky tobacco, or even simpler, that good. His halftime performance is so good. I can't wait to see it. Father, help me! I'm scared. Hubby was explaining sounding to his chat. Error 404. Did you not know what sounding was before Cozy Goth Husband explained it? For those that don't know, sounding is when you put things in your urethra. Anyway, howdy, hey, punk puppy. Welcome in. Dude, the show was amazing. We should watch it right now if the NFL won't commit. Oh, my bad. Oops. The NFL and Apple Music will smite me if I even think about it. So we're not going to do that. The couple actually did get married, and all the businesses were featured, or actual businesses. And Steve, read my streak message. I worked hard on those, you pebble. Phantom Fox, where's your streak message? Peach is delicious, and please woo Tyrell. He had a traumatic backstory. All right, fine. I'll think about it. Now, the one of the reasons that we have gathered here today, other than collectively simping over hot people, is to thank one Ramathel in chat, which say hi, Ramathel, aka Coral, for their contribution to the stream. Now, what is that contribution, you may ask? Well, okay, all right, Ted, we're just gonna scoot. What is that contribution, you may ask? Well, Ramathel took time out of their day to write a 6-page fanfic. And we are going to we're gonna go ahead and go through this real quick. It is in fact Date Everything related, so the Date Everything tag is accurate. This is a PG-13 fanfic. So for those of you that are scared, or for those of you that need the warning of hand holding and you know, the seductive eyes, and maybe even a kiss, be warned. All right. There's also sexually suggestive content, suggestive language, mentions of nudity, mentions of multiple partners in an intimate setting, yearning, which is a big one there, yearning, and the inappropriate use of a rock pick. Also, Masonry, thank you so much for the sub, my dude. I appreciate it. And Nextstick, thank you so much for the resub with Prime. I appreciate it, guys. And then Lucy Goosey says hydrate. So cheers. The hand holding in this economy. Steve, I was around for the citrus scale. This would be a solid lemon or grapefruit. Oh my God, not the citrus scale. Oh my God, Phantom Fox! Oh. All the AO3, all the AO3 memories just came rushing back to me. and they hit me like a freight train. Dear God. Steve, rate this on the fruit scale. I haven't read it yet. That's the thing. We're going to do a live reading and a live react to it. Fair enough? Oh, so this is a tragedy. How is there supposed to be hand holding if Pet Rock has no hands? Chayas? I didn't think about that. Oh no! One of the most shameful of hooers and floozies to show their ankles and hold hands. And Wattpad / Tumblr. How can we forget about Wattpad and Tumblr? All right, I'm gonna make it a little bigger for me. Real quick, we're gonna go ahead and read the. So this, okay. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? So this is Stoned to Submission, a Steve the Pet Rock and Date Everything fanfic by Coral Ramathil. Coral, feel free to say hello in chat so that you can get the attention that this deserves. Author's note: in an effort to make this fanfic more appropriate and to be read out loud on stream to meet Twitch guidelines, much of the juicy and frankly the best content has been edited down heavily. However, I will not let the purple website repress my creative prowess in giving the people a good story of putting Steve in his submissive place. If you wish to read the full and completely open door explicit version, let me know, and I will also share with Arcadia for her to disperse at her pleasure. Without further ado, please take the time to read the following content warnings edited for this version and drink your goddamn water, you thirsty, depraved animals. Enjoy. I'm glad you reminded everybody to hydrate, Coral. We're just gonna go ahead. We're gonna pin this comment for 10 minutes. There we go. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Fair warning. As you guys know, I'm terrible at reading. All right? Actually, you know what? Let me see if my glasses will. Also, Freaky Anu, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. And Bandit, stop unfollowing me just to follow me, god damn it. All right, hold on. Let me. How do I? Okay. That.
Oh, brother.
Hey, guess what? I'm wearing glasses now. Don't brother me, life hacker. All right, let's do this. Steve the Pet Rock did not really seem to have much value in this universe. After all, what more was he besides a sentient, gray, metamorphic geological marvel? See, we're starting off already. After all, what more was he besides a sentient, gray, metamorphic geological marvel? I did it again with glued on googly eyes that could talk. Apparently, not much, according to others. Sure, he was heavy and hard to move around, but that didn't mean he wasn't meant for more than just propping open his own door. So when a strange package arrived at that door, Steve's own curiosity got the best of him, and he opened it to find the most fabulous and gaudy pink aviator sunglasses he had ever seen. He didn't know it then, but those sunglasses would open so many new and exciting opportunities in the realm of romance and riz. Even if that romance would be with his blanket, his bed, his toilet, or even the very same front door to his house. He had over 100 objects in his house. And with these glasses, he was determined to date, and if he was lucky, bed every last one of them. Also, Stellar Thorn, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. What did I click into? Blue Rando? This is a Steve the Pet Rock cross Date Everything fanfic. So this is going to be really interesting. Steve, my mom got me melatonin gummies. Hell yeah, Aster! Get that sleep. All right. It took over a month for Steve to speak and form his relationship to the objects in his house. Being unemployed without much else... I can't read. Being unemployed without much else to do gave him plenty of opportunities to really get to know all the personified versions of his possessions. He didn't even step outside once. Not that vitamin D was really important to him. He was, indeed, a rock after all. Which, of course, served Steve as a grim reminder. As his relationships with his household objects grew or shattered, the sunglasses, which Steve learned to be called date aviators, gained more power the more Steve learned specific skill sets. And with this power, the Dateviators gained the ability to realize the inanimate objects, turning them into full-bodied, breathing human beings. Yes, with this power, Steve was able to bring his most treasured household objects to life. He was eager to finally harness the full ability of the Dateviators would give him, to bring life to the objects he happened to fall desperately in love with. And so he worked, bringing to life all the objects in his heart. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't read. And so he worked, bringing to life all the objects his heart now held dear. His safe, now the voluptuous Sophia, and his breaker box, now the dashing duo of Voltanetti, to name a few. Steve was ecstatic to finally behold his many beloveds with his own 2 wiggly eyes, for them to finally hold his heavy, stone-cold form in their own flesh and blood embrace. But sadly, that was all they could do. Steve quickly realized that upon bringing his objects to life, they would desire everything a human would want. Independence, but most of all, intimacy. While Steve himself harbored desires of the most salacious nature, he was, after all, a rock. In simplest terms, he couldn't give nor could he take to bring his new lovers to the pleasure he knew they deserved. So before his newly humanized objects left his home for their own pursuits, they had all shared an intimacy with Steve they only knew how, laying beside him in the comfort of his own bed. Their bodies pressed flush against his cold, grainy form as they held him in their arms. The warmth of their bodies filled Steve with an air of contentment. Yet he still yearned for the intimacy of complete fulfillment that humans shared. He knew the love he had with his new partners was true, but he still felt like missing a piece. Like he wasn't enough for them. So when they left his home to start their new lives and chart their own courses, he wondered when he would see them again, or at all. One day, many weeks after Steve realized all the objects in his house, he heard a gentle knock on the door. When he rolled over to answer it, he found none other than Daisuke, a beautiful Japanese man who once served as Steve's dishware and cutlery. While Steve didn't like to play favorites amongst his many household lovers, Daisuke was special. He was calm, stoic, and soft-spoken in his passions for poetry and the beauty that dishware held. This, of course, followed Daisuke when Steve realized him into the beautiful man that now stood before him. The man who looked at Steve with the same gentle smile and warm brown eyes that left a rock's soul awash with longing. Before Daisuke had left Steve's home, their last night was oh God. Before Daisuke left Steve's home, their last night together was the most intimate that Steve had experienced with his realized objects. That night, until the both of them fell asleep, Daisuke simply held Steve in his large, gentle hands, easily wrapping his long fingers on either side of Steve's form as he lovingly caressed his thumbs along the grains of his body. Daisuke whispered many sweet nothings to Steve as he touched him. Dear fucking God. This is getting, oh my God. Coral. Also, Hamburger Bun, welcome in, my dude. We're reading fanfics in this bitch. Do you realize how beautiful you are to me, Steve? He breathed. How your micas glisten in the moonlight veiling us. You're like my own you're not, oh my God, this is so cute. You're like my own personal night sky, sparkling just for me. Daisuke continues to speak of his love and to share his heart to his romantic rock companion into the late hours of the night, only quieting as both of them drifted into the sweetness of dreams. With Steve lovingly enveloped in Daisuke's arms, being loved for what he simply was, he was certain he would never feel this much warmth from anyone. But of course, Daisuke left like the others. His pursuits as a human led him to pursue the arts, which sadly he quickly found out he lacked the skills for. Oh no! Oh no! Not Daisuke! However, he still found another artistic medium of similar nature. Nude figure modeling for college art classes? What? Ramathel, what? God damn.
What?
Anyone else feel like getting into some sketch artistry? Because I do. This didn't surprise Steve at all once he caught wind of the news. Daisuke was at the peak form of male physique. His muscles, delightfully toned, were the perfect definition to catch the right amount of light and cast shadows in the most concupiscent? Concupiscent. There we go. Words are hard. Of places. Yes, Steve loved looking at Daisuke's beautiful body, but he was certain he loved his hands the most. Those hands that held Steve in all the right places and knew where he loved to be touched. The perfect representation of what made Daisuke the man he is. Gentle, yet strong. Steve had to break himself away from his wandering thoughts to finally greet the waiting Daisuke. He couldn't get too worked up this soon. He just opened the damn door. After clearing where his throat would be and returning Daisuke's smile, he opened the door to further let him in. Hello, Daisuke. It's great to see you, my dude. Daisuke bowed his head in greeting before leaning down to place a gentle kiss on what would be Steve's cheek. It's wonderful to see you, Steve, Daisuke said softly. I trust you have been faring well. Have you enjoyed the portraits I've sent you? Steve immediately felt stiffer than he normally did as he absorbed Daisuke's. Feeling stiffer, huh? That right. As Daisuke had been loving his new profession, he took it upon himself to send Steve some of his most favorite pieces drawn and painted of him. Some were very tasteful, which Steve proudly displayed in his bathrooms. Others, well, let's just say Steve kept those under the bed for him to admire at more private times. Yes. They're all so lovely and beautifully done, he stuttered. The students captured you perfectly. They do you justice. Daisuke smiled, the rose-colored blush painting his cheeks at Steve's compliment. As Steve rolled alongside Daisuke further into his living room, Steve finally took notice to see Daisuke carrying a small brown paper bag in his hand. His fist around the bag handles clenching and unclenching with nerves. Steve, ever the more curious stone, playfully nudged Daisuke's leg. Aw, Daisuke, you shouldn't have. You know my birthday isn't for another 2 months. He joked. Daisuke softly chuckled along with Steve's tease before pausing to bite his lip, looking down at the bag in his hands thoughtfully. Of course, I remember when your birthday is. It's just, well, I came across something I believe to make intimacy more enjoyable for you. For us. Daisuke looked back into Steve's eyes. His own chocolate gaze softened as he breathed through another smile. For all of us. As Steve's black pupils shook in their plastic shells in confusion, he followed the motion of Daisuke's hands reaching into the bag. When he saw Daisuke pull out made Steve feel like he would burst into smithereens. In Daisuke's hands, he held a small iron rock pick. Excuse me? A what? Also, hey Kiki here. Thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. And Sabrina M99, thank you so much for the follow, my dude. I appreciate it. Also, please, guys, I'm trying. Thank you so much for lurking, my dude. You don't gotta say hi, but I'm just saying hello. Ramathel, I need you to be real with me, okay? Is this gonna end in pegging? Anyway, fear instantaneously washed over Steve. If he had the ability to sweat, he would have produced enough to fill a goddamn reservoir. Daisuke, immediately sensing Steve's apprehension, spoke with gentle reassurance. The students at the college recently have been working on marble and stonework. I have seen them use many tools as they sculpt me. He smiled softly as he reminisces. Mallets, chisels, picks, all such abrasive tools to make something beautiful. He looks down at the rock pick in his hand and clutches it tightly, steadying his breath before bending down to place his hands along Steve's form, caressing him softly and lovingly, just like that night all that time ago. I want to make something beautiful with you, only if you let me. if you trust me. Steve stood frozen as he deciphered Daisuke's words and the meaning behind them. There was only one purpose of what that tool would do to him, and quite frankly, he wasn't sure whether to be terrified or terribly turned on. Having his very being chipped away to make room for those he held dear? What if it was too much? What if he couldn't handle it? The worst case scenario hit his would-be brain, and he trembled under Daisuke's hand. Is he gonna make me a pussy? Oh god, I almost just knocked over my table. Okay, we're good. Do you understand what you'll be doing, Daisuke? He faltered. If you go too hard or too rough or chip away at the wrong spot. Daisuke immediately placed a finger over the area where Steve's lips would be, silencing him. As Steve calmed himself down and raised his eyes to Daisuke's, the man gave him one of the most loving smiles he had yet to see. Slowly, Daisuke pressed a soft, lingering kiss atop of Steve's form, whispering against him as his thumb did that enticing caress of Steve's cheek that he was so fond of. You are more precious to me than any piece of artwork, he breathed. I promise to take my time with you, for however long it takes. Make sure you are perfectly crafted to take every inch of me. I will be gentle in every way. His words carried more than a promise. To Steve, they felt like a prayer. One that even Friar Errol would commend for how heavenly divine it was. Steve shifted against the touch of Daisuke's hand, leaning into his warmth, reassuring himself of the trust he held for the man that he made from his dishware. He wanted to give Daisuke and all of his lovers every part of himself, and now this could finally be the solution he was seeking. Taking a deep breath and looking back into Daisuke's eyes, he nods firmly. Question! We are making me a hole, yes? Are we not gonna make me a beanance? Are we not gonna, are we not gonna are we not gonna use both cases of both organs? You're a bottom, Steve. Shut up, Piotr. Also, Piotr says hydrate. So cheers, nerds. Oh my god. But where was I? He nods firmly. There we go. I trust you, Daisuke. Do it, he whispered breathlessly. Carve me out. Make me your perfect fit. Daisuke's eyebrows rose slightly as he felt the heat creep up the length of his neck upon hearing the desperation in Steve's voice. He had yet to see Steve react with such need after having such comfortable intimacy before. The contentment of embracing together in the comfort of Steve's bed, stealing kisses between honey-sweet words. Daisuke treasured it all deeply. While he mourned for more of which Steve could not give, it never made him love Steve any less. So, for Steve to trust him for this possibly harebrained idea and put his life at risk, Daisuke couldn't help but fall more in love with him this very moment. His heart swelled as he felt a familiar ache in his lower abdomen that had him drop to his knees. Did he just get a boner? You guys ever get that hard of a boner that you have to take a knee? Letting out wanton breath, he took Steve's heavy form in both of his hands and raised them to his mouth to press a hard, hot kiss upon where his mouth would be. Small vibration of a moan reverberated in the back of Daisuke's throat as he finally broke the kiss to bore his eyes into while his deep brown eyes still held their warm gaze. Something in them had been smoldering. Something in them that had been smoldering was now starting to stoke into something more intense. I will, my love, Daisuke rasped. And once I'm finished, you will be my greatest masterpiece. Daisuke was true to his word. Slow and gentle for as much as Steve could handle, little by little. Early on in the process, Steve quickly realized his initial feel was Early on into the process, Steve quickly realized his initial fear was all for naught. As Daisuke chipped away at Steve's underside, Steve surprisingly didn't find it to be painful, but strangely pleasurable. As more and more of him was taken away, and the hollower and hollower the hole Daisuke made, the pleasure increased for Steve. So much so that Steve didn't know where this new area of him ended and where it began. Daisuke worked meticulously, enjoying Steve's pleasure as he carved him to perfection. Not a single crack or chip out of place. When Daisuke finished and admired his handiwork, Steve looked up at him from his place on the bed with great need and desperation. And with a smile, Daisuke lowered himself over his lover and finally gave him what he had longed for so long. It was perfect. More than perfect, even. Daisuke had taken so much care and attention to his rock companion that he created in Steve the perfect mold. If it was perfect for himself, then it was just right for everyone else. Oh my god! Whoa! Whoa! Hold on! Ramato, are you saying Daisuke is hung like a horse? Also, Jai the Drag Queen says hydrate, so cheers. Steve's hole is rated E for everyone. No, no, sandwich, no. Fanfic story time was lost. What a way to come into stream. What's going on, Opal? Welcome in. Dear God. Wait, he's canonically the biggest one in the game? What? How come nobody told me? All right. Let's see. Daisuke didn't leave the next day, or the day after. He wanted to have more than his fill of Steve and give him all the desire and want that had been harboring deep within him for so long. Steve was more than happy to oblige Daisuke's newfound sexual appetite. For this new hidden little cavern carved inside him brought forth new sensations he could only have dreamed of. When Daisuke finally decided it was time to depart, he promised Steve he would return soon, and he would hold true to this promise. But not only when Daisuke initially left did he return to his modeling position, he also shared with the other realized objects this new development in Steve. Oh no! Hey guys, The Rock has a pussy now. The reception of this news was taken to what you... Oh no! The reception of this news was taken to what you would expect of sexually repressed people attracted to a rock. Fervorous! Left and right, all of Steve's realized lovers dropped by to visit and indulge this new part of Steve's anatomy. Tony knew just where to put his screw. Dorian's master key had no problem with this